You can mute your mic, that would be great. Okay. We are going to get started here. Hi, everybody. My name is Isla. This is Most Things Hypnosis, and we are live at 5. Well, it's actually 5:02, but who's counting, right? Today is May 18th, 2023. Today's topic is going to be about procrastination. And as per my usual, there's always going to be, but first. But first, let me just say a few things. First of all, I've found that there is something called the procrastinator's creed. And see if this resonates with any of you. I believe that if anything is worth doing, it would have been done already. I shall never move quickly except to avoid more work or find excuses. Or how about, I will never rush into a job without a lifetime of consideration. I meet all of my deadlines directly in proportion to the amount of bodily injury I could expect to receive from missing those deadlines. I firmly believe that tomorrow holds the possibility for new technologies, astounding discoveries, and a reprieve from my obligations. So if you're an accountant, and since AI is a big thing, you might be out of a job in a few years. I truly believe, that all deadlines are unreasonable, regardless of the amount of time given. If at first I don't succeed, there is always next year. I shall always decide not to decide unless, of course, I decide to change my mind. That sounds like a woman, doesn't it? I shall always begin, start, initiate, take the first step, and or write the first word when I get around to it. Hence my cover here and all my little to its. I will never put off tomorrow what I can forget about forever. That's the procrastinator's creed. I got a few more things to talk about in the procrastination world, some little lighthearted things in a story, and then we'll get down to business. And today is just part one of the procrastinators. But these are some things that kind of metaphorically resonated with today's theme. Procrastination is the art of keeping up with yesterday and avoiding today. You're right. Procrastination has been called a thief, the thief of time. I wish it were no than a thief. It is actually a murderer, and that which kills is no time merely, but the immortal soul. We can have reprieve on that. Often greater risk is involved in postponement than in making a wrong decision. Here, that's a lot of truth in that one. There's a greater risk in involving there. Often greater risk is involved in postponement than in making a wrong decision. In putting off what one has to do, one runs the risk of never being able to do it. Or how about avoid delays? Procrastination always does harm. This is a popular translation of the phrase "tola mora semper noquit," or something like that. I'm not French, which can be also translated in other ways, such as "make haste, delay is ever fatal to those who are prepared." And procrastination usually results in sorrowful regret. Today's duties put off tomorrow. Excuse me, I'm reading this wrong. Procrastination usually results in sorrowful regret. Today's duties put off tomorrow give us a double burden to bear, and the best way is to do them in their proper time. Yeah, some of those are kind of corny. All right. I want to talk a little bit before I get started on tools or information about all the things that are out there about procrastination. There are questionnaires, there's quizzes, there's how procrastinator are you, to what level, what degree. There's actual applications that you can download, apps on procrastinating and helping you with your procrastination. And how do they work? Well, I am confident a procrastinator probably didn't create them. It's a way probably to gain money. Two, some king procrastinators in my day. And there was a gentleman, his name's Jim, and he's not with us anymore, but apparently he was an amazing procrastinator. He would make lists of all the things he needed to do and then not be able to find the list again afterwards. And I was talking to another friend, and he said that Jim was kind of like his hero in the world of procrastination. And procrastinators will put things off, but there's a lot of things to be said about the procrastinator, which I'm going to get into some character traits here in a minute. But there's people who think other people are procrastinators. You got to learn about what it is you're doing. It is what they're doing. If you're in a partnership of any kind, either in your relationships or business or whatever, please understand that some people get things done differently than others and in another way, in different ways. If you work for yourself like I do, I haven't got time to procrastinate on the things that matter the most to my clients. And my phone is just going to keep chiming, isn't it? I'm going to actually turn that down. And I have two phones, so I always am playing double phone. Okay. But when you're coming into like I said, for me being self-employed, I only have me to answer to as far as getting things done. And no, it doesn't feel good when a client expects me to be ready for them and then I'm not. I my dead level best to always be ready for my clients an hour before they arrive to their appointment. To just be ready, have my room ready, the lights, the lamps. I use lamps in my office. I don't use overheads if at all possible. So, but do these apps work? I don't know. I've never tried them. I don't know that I need one, but you're asking a procrastinator to take their phone, open their app store, download the app, set it up, and then do the things on the app when they can just take a piece of paper and do the same thing. Why would it be different? Why does the app make a difference in what we do? So in the procrastinator's world, there's so many caveats. Sometimes it's just you want to ask for help, but you're nervous to. If I ask for help, that means I'm inconveniencing somebody. And I got to tell you, procrastinators, the ones that I know are some of the most helpful people you'll ever meet. And they just want to be helpful. And part of that being so helpful to others is they can avoid what it is they need to be doing elsewhere. Sometimes it could just be brought on by guilt. You know, if I don't help them, I can't help them. Maybe it's the opposite. Because if I help them, then I can't get my stuff done. But you don't get your self done anyway. And sometimes there's a little argument going on in your own head. How can I fix this? So today, I'm going to share my screen here with this PowerPoint that I created just to kind of make it go flow, get it in the flow. Hang on just a second. Let me get this blown up. This is being recorded. You can find this on my YouTube channel under Central Valley Hypnotherapy. So by all means, if you miss something, you can go back there about 10 minutes after this show, 10, 15 minutes, and you can check it out there. Okay, so what is procrastination? So before I define it with you, some of the observations I have about procrastinators. They're incredibly intelligent people. Intelligence you're actually born with. Smarts is something that you cognitively create through study, school, life experiences, but intelligence is just something that things come naturally how to do it. A lot of your engineers who are really good engineers are very intelligent people. Technical people that are math oriented are intelligent people. People who are just even aesthetic people are very intelligent, but maybe you have a division because one side of your brain is very aesthetic and creative and the other side is logical, and sometimes the two can collide and become something even better. But there's always that part of you that's, now I don't know that I'm intelligent as much as smart, and sometimes a smart ass. That's what my mom would say. But your prodigies are intelligent, your savants are intelligent. These are the people that are just naturally have this ability to take in information and put it and mix it around and make something of it. If you get the right DNA sequence in families, you have brainiacs. I actually know one family that had 5 children, and mom had 2 doctorates. I don't know if dad had one, at least one. Anyway, their 5 children all were prodigies. Every one of them were prodigies. It was it was like they were bored in school, so they would advance themselves over and over again. I think one is now graduated from Oxford on her 2nd degree. And I mean, they're just brilliantly, and what's nice is they were taught to give. So their intelligence is being utilized for good. One of them, I'm probably closer to than any of them. He's working in the world of cancer, and I don't know how close he is to whatever it is he's working on in cancer, but that's been his life's work, kind of thing. So it's kind of neat to see how they will work towards, something they're into, science-based or whatever. And don't ever think for 1 minute that just because you procrastinate that there's a lack of intelligence going on. Not even further, it couldn't be further from the truth. Procrastinators are very detail oriented. The procrastinators are perfectionists usually. Procrastinators are those that they'll get the job when they're doing the job, whatever that job is, they're going to do it right. They're going to do it perfectly. My boyfriend, I had him in my old office, put up an 11-foot chair rail on my wall. So I had two-tone wall and an 11-foot chair rail up, and he made sure it was exactly level all the way down. And it was just a hair here. I mean, we spent, I don't know, a couple of hours on this chair rail to make sure it was perfect. And he was the best man for the job, because I would have just eyeballed it. It would have been all right, but wouldn't have been level. And it would have looked off as soon as I put anything up on the wall. It probably would have had a tilt. No, he didn't want that to happen with me. And I appreciate it. So on with our procrastination. What is it? It's the act of delaying or postponing a task or actions that need to be accomplished or even want to be accomplished. The delay or avoidance is often to a point of causing one stress, anxiety, negative impact on the quality of one's life. If you have an enormous amount of projects, or let's say this often happens. Someone's going out of town and they have to get themselves packed. So they need to do their laundry, and they have to make sure the house is clean or put together or whatever before they leave. But they're supposed to leave for the airport. They have to be at the airport at 5 o'clock. or they have to be on the road by 5 o'clock to get to their destination at whatever time. And typically they'll be late. They'll be late because they found 75 other things to do that could have been done before they, beforehand or after they get back. But for some reason, in those moments that they have to leave, they have to get these things done now. And if you were to tell them, don't come, the trip is canceled, they would probably stop what they were doing. So that motivates them for some reason. And I'm sure there's a psychological reason why. I'm not a psychologist. I wouldn't know, but that is a trait that I see in a lot of people. I've done it myself. Man, I wish they would just cancel. I can get this done, kind of thing. But I stop what I'm doing and I leave on time, arrive early and wait to be on time. Okay. Procrastination can lead to missed opportunities. As stated before, stress, anxiety, decrease in productivity. You want to make sure that, are you being productive? Is what you need to get done. And if it's something that's just so simple as domestic duties, keeping your house up. Let me have some water. I can't shake this hoarse throat. So missed opportunities. Let's say I'll get to it in just a minute. Procrastination is a response to a trigger. So we get triggered. I'm not a procrastinator. Like if you were to put a procrastinator scale 0 to 10, 10 being the one that is like the king of the president of the club, the CEO, I'd be like a 2, otherwise I wouldn't have gotten this PowerPoint done. And so responses to a trigger, a stimulus prompted the response or the behavior to begin with. And procrastination is a behavior. You developed a strategy along the way to do what you don't do, or don't do what you do. Did I say that right? Anyway, example of triggers in procrastination. Fear of failure. Oh, I didn't put the EM, sorry. Deadlines, lack of interest, no ambition, lack of motivation, anxiety, and just feeling a sense of overwhelm. And even people who overthink, overwhelmed, they're just so much on their mind. They got to get so much stuff done. They're always in this, I got to get all this stuff done in their head. And here's a thought. What if it was all done? Imagine in your mind, everything was in their place. Everything was in order. Everything was done. Just imagine that. How would you feel? And you woke up every single day knowing that everything was done. It would feel awkward for you. Oh man, that'd be great for about 3 days. And then you would want to go back to what's called comfort zone. And we'll get into that in a minute. But as I said before, the fear of failure, these are some of the examples of triggers kind of explained. You know what doesn't work. It's not failure, people. It's feedback. It's never, you learned what doesn't work. Now you can start looking for what does work. Well, not getting up off my butt. There's a content provider. Her name's Mel Robbins. I love her. She said, when you have a thought to do something, you have 5 seconds to take action or your brain's going to kill that thought right now. So when you have a thought, I should go in there and do those dishes. By the time the word dishes comes out of your mouth, you should be up, but headed into the kitchen to do the dishes. You cannot clean what doesn't get dirty. I have another friend, she was a mentor. She said that in her house, and it's true, I've been in her house many times, every room has a bottle of Windex and a roll of paper towels hidden somewhere in the room. She doesn't leave a room without doing something in that room before she leaves it. She's just developed this habit. You don't leave a room without straightening a book, a picture, without taking a paper towel with a squirt of Windex, wiping one tile on the wall or the floor, or wiping the lid of the toilet. So I've used this technique just in my bathroom, just always never leaving my bathroom without making sure I've done something, that I, wipe down a tile or the sink or just do something, just one little thing. And if you cannot clean what doesn't get dirty. So if it never gets dirty, you never have to worry about it. Okay, then let's go back to the failure of deadlines and stuff like that. Back to failure. One more thought about knowing what doesn't work. So Thomas Edison, and I think the number's 232 times he tried to make the light bulb, and some would say he failed, but he doesn't think he failed. He found 232 different ways not to do it. Look at the Starbucks guy that started Starbucks. He didn't fail. He got 217 people who would not invest. He just learned that those people didn't want to invest in this coffee. And now he's a multi-billion-dollar because he think he was 7 or 10 that would invest. So he just kept at it because he knew he had a product. He knew he had a way, a gold mine, and he did. He just found ways. He never looked at any of those no's as failures. So saying no to yourself isn't a failure. It's just, why did I say no? Why did I say no to not making my bed today? Why did I say no to not putting those dishes away? Why did I say no to not going to work today? Why did I say no for not meeting my deadline at work? Why did I, whatever that is. And there's such a rush of dopamine when you hurry, speaking of deadlines, hurrying things through to the finish line. And you didn't put the same time as others do to get there. You get to miss something in the process. So you're hurrying to get something done. I did this in college. I'm really good at writing papers. I can write something very quickly. A professor needed 3,000 words. It would take me a few hours. I don't care what the topic was. 4 hours tops, I think, is the longest it ever took me to write a 3,000 word page. And typically it was always over that. But I'm just really good and gifted at that ability to figure out how to research fast and then get the information worded so that it makes sense. And then I attended law school, and so that helped me how to think more cleverly and logically. So I headline things with bullet points a lot. So just like, this is kind of like my headline right here, examples of triggers, and these are my little bullet points, for example. It keeps me on task too. So don't miss an opportunity. If you're taking your time, you're bound to learn something. And if you learn something, maybe it'll make it easier for you next time. So study habits, test habits, company. Oh my gosh. Even tonight, I have coming to my office in an hour. So my office is clean and tidy. I just have a couple of things I need to put away. It'll take me 10 minutes before they get here. I could have done it during the day, but I wanted to work on this, and I was helping somebody else when they came in earlier today, helping them out in a process. So it was just I already know in my mind, okay, this won't take me that long. My desk was piled with stuff earlier, about a half hour ago. So I took 5 minutes and I put everything where it needed to be. I just put it away in my briefcase or in my file thing or in my office. I have an office. Whoops. Okay, let's go back. Failure. Okay, we're already there. Okay, now lack of interest, no ambition. People are just like, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. Well, I always wanted to do something, and I thought it was teach, and I love teaching. I thought it was, and I do get to teach like this, I guess, in a way. Teaching is helping fulfill that need and desire that I love to just put information out to. But I also don't want to be a know-it-all. Just somebody that knows about this. And anybody watching this can do the same thing. So as far as procrastinating goes, lack of interest. So maybe you just don't have it. Maybe it's difficult for you. This is a difficult one if you don't have any ambition to change, no interest to make things better for yourself. You might be considered depressed. I'm not a doctor or psychiatrist. I don't diagnose people, but that could be a tell sign that you might want to check out why you're feeling like you have no ambition. I mean, when I say no ambition, I mean kind of lethargic and just, I don't really care about whatever. It's hard to get up in the morning. I go to bed late. I'll get it done when I get it done or whatever. That kind of something will charge you though. Something of interest at some point will charge you. You just need to know what it is. And by the way, I'm going to take a side note. If you're lacking ambition, trying to figure out what it is you want to be when you grow up. I was 52 years old when I figured it out. No, it's hard to believe. There's a book called What Color is Your Parachute? And every year it comes out with a new edition. Highly recommend looking into that book. It's a career path finder, if you will. It's a real thick book, but it's got a lot of worksheets, a lot of things that you do, processes that you can take on. What Color is Your Parachute? It's a great book on careers, on just how to help you find what is your niche. Well, mine is help people. My goal, so that ambitions me to help people. And I have an ambition before I leave this earth is to help as many people as I can achieve their very best. Sometimes you don't want to change. Like I said, you want to find out why is that. And sometimes you don't want someone to help you. I know of a gentleman who is isolated and he won't let anybody up into his home. It's not a very savory, as far as probably not conducive to a very, I don't want to badmouth anybody, but it's just what you can imagine. Somebody who would never let anybody in their home. They don't have the ambition to, do anything, including, their hygiene or whatever. That would be somebody that I would be alerted to. But maybe you need people to push you. Maybe you're not a self-starter. I was never a self-starter. I actually imagine being self-started every day by my own little imagination, that the people relying on me, I think about them, my boyfriend, my children, my clients, where I went to school. I am I'm one of hundreds of thousands of people that graduated from this hypnotherapy college. And it was a happy place for me. I never want what I do to reflect poorly on that college. I recommend people to that college all the time. So I would never want to be the one that, well, if that's what it turns out to be, I want to be the best that I can be for whatever it is I'm doing. I want people to always see me as, as motivated, even though sometimes I'm not motivated. It is hard to get up in the morning. There are times when, like last night, I was, no, it was this morning. I was getting dressed and I don't wash my hair every day, or at least try not to. And I was just putting it back and putting makeup on and trying to rush. And I thought, it's 9 o'clock. I need to be at work at 9 o'clock. And it occurred to me that I was being motivated by a client. I needed to be there an hour before them. And that client doesn't show up until tomorrow. So I was a day early. So I'm like, once I realized I had a little extra time, I took a deep breath, had a cup of coffee, and just kind of took my time a little bit. Is there anything else that I need to gather that I'm not going to forget, to bring into work, kind of thing? As it turned out, I did forget a bag. I left it home, but I'll get it later. But it was just like, okay, but I was motivated. That motivated me. Anxiety, you have to get stuff done, but you're so stressed you can't even think about it. And that causes a cousin to overwhelmness. From anxiety, definitely first cousins. Overwhelmness and anxiety, definitely first cousins. I digress. Let's keep going. I must finish here because I do have that bunch of people coming over. So emotions in procrastination. Negative emotions like fear, anxiety, being overwhelmed, even guilt, shame, it all leads to procrastination, or just an idea, fear sometimes. As you suppress these emotions, they grow within your own body and they get stored until you are ready to release them. And people will store emotions for decades. Emotions are a tangible piece of energy that moves. It's just energy in motion. That's an emotion. Energy in motion. And you can move that energy. Think about a time in your life when you felt so happy, a moment, a specific moment where you can look at your own timeline and think, wow, I remember I was so happy that day. And hold on to what happy felt like, because you're feeling it when you think about it. And you can take that happy and move it right here. You can even move it to your future. Anxiety is nothing more than negative emotions surrounded by a future event. So let's say you are anxious when you go to work, something about your job, you don't like your job. Okay, great. When are you the most content? Oh, when I leave at 5 o'clock. Okay. Can you imagine yourself leaving, what that feels like? Yes, I feel relief. Hold that relief. Take it in and hold that relief. Now, you can hold that feeling of relief while you go to your job for the whole day. Anytime that relief starts to leave, just imagine leaving again and feeling that relief comes back, and you start to enjoy your job a little bit better. Maybe because you get to leave at 5 o'clock. Until, let's see, until then you will delay, suppressing your emotions, letting them get stored in your body till you're ready to release them. And until then, you will delay and avoid your tasks, which lead to negative emotions, more negative emotions, and this reinforces a cycle of procrastination. So this is where I come in. So being aware of the inner workings of is the core to understanding it. Knowns, things the subconscious mind knows, brings emotional pleasure to the subconscious mind. And it does not matter if it's right or wrong, bad or good, healthy or not. Unknowns represent emotional discomfort to the subconscious mind. Our knowns become our comfort zone. Our comfort zone dictates 88% of our behavior. That means 12% we're in control of. That's our conscious mind. And that 12% is where we decide, reason, analyze, use that willpower and logic to make a change, trying to put ourselves out of into a change that only happens at 12% brain power for maybe 1% of the population. So let's talk about a comfort zone of $20,000. Some people, that's their comfort. You can put whatever number you want in. I'm using money because it's easy to relate to. And anytime we go much above that comfort zone level, discomfort begins, and you begin to procrastinate and sabotage in an attempt to bring yourself back down. Thinking about lottery winners, you can read the books. Over 95%, 98% of them end up within a few years, couple of years, more broke than when they started, because they're not used to that. And I don't care if you were used to making $2-3 million a year and you win 10 million, you're not used to that 10 million. And you may have a better chance at keeping more of it for a longer period of time than somebody who's making $65,000 or even $100,000 a year. But the idea is to call me so I can help you train your subconscious mind to accept it so that it understands the new comfort zone. Okay. And it's only a session or two, and you can help recreate your own new comfort zone, your own new life script. So when we get below that amount, that's when motivation kicks in. So when it's above it, procrastination kicks in. I'm good. I'm in comfort zone. Your subconscious mind's kind of poking at you. Hey, we've got extra money here. We've got extra whatever. What do you think you're doing? No, we don't do that. Bring it. Come on, you got to go shopping. Spend it down, waste it, whatever. Or now that it's, instead of 20,000, we're so used to being at 20,000. Now we're at 15 and you start to get emotionally charged. I'm like, oh gosh, I got to go out and find work. I have to go do something. I know realtors who do this. They will sell enough houses just to keep them at their comfort zone. And then when they start to get below that, they go out and sell a couple more houses. And then they'll get it back up to their comfort zone. Instead of just selling houses on a regular basis and watching that number grow, it really does. Once you get your mindset around that, you see that number grow, or you see that procrastination diminishing, you start to feel good. You really start to get, that motivates you in another direction. Anyway, this is credited to Success Is Not by Accident by Dr. John Kappas. Your environment can trigger procrastination too. Your environment influences your behavior, which in turn can trigger procrastination. A workspace. I had my workspace today. I have a desk here, and it's not too bad right now. I just got my notes from today and my lipstick, my glasses, my water, my phones, and I have this little tiny personal fan in case I get one. That's it. I mean, just, little officey things, decorative stuff. But it's a workspace can be disorganizing. When I left work last night, I was done for the day. Been here all day. I was done. And I didn't clean off my desk. So I walked in this morning to a desk with literally a pile of paperwork that needed places to go. So it did distract me because I kept ignoring it all day. I'll get to it. 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 But as soon as I got to it, I got to about a half hour before I started the show. And all of a sudden now I feel a lot better. But it can distract you. Piles can be distracting. It becomes too difficult to be able to focus on a task or to complete your task. So make sure you clear off your workspace. If that's all you do, you spend 15 minutes, clear off your workspace, you're done for the day. That's it. Or clear off a part of it. Maybe it's too much, it's too overwhelming. Just a part of it. I need a place to work, so I have to have it cleared off. This will help you increase your productivity. So one needs to have an environment that is conducive to one's work output and efficiency. And your mind is an efficiency machine. And if it always sees clutter, it's always going to be cluttered. If your brain is always cluttered, or monkey mind or procrastination keeps you cluttered, you will always have that. So start thinking about it and imagining yourself in a whole other direction and just see what happens. Pretty amazing. This concludes part 1. I want you to return next week for part 2. I'll go over some more details how hypnotherapy and hypnosis can be a benefit to the procrastinator. Meanwhile, so you don't go away empty-handed for a full week, I want you to start creating a list of the top 75 things you want to complete. Produce, do, stop doing, create, whatever. Do you have 75 projects that need to get done? Timeline them. When do you want them done? You want them done next month, next week, tomorrow, whatever. Just get it down there. Show up on the Zoom link that you got on here. I'm sorry, the same Zoom. You can go to Central Valley Hypnotherapy. You can send in the bottom left corner of every slide is my phone number and email. I mean, my website. You can contact me there if you want the Zoom link. I do Zoom every week, and what I'll do is, however many people show up, I'll do an actual, those that want to be recorded, help you with some demonstrations on how hypnosis can benefit you. Again, my information is in the corner, so that you can send me a text or whatever. If you want to get this link again, come live on the show and help you pick somebody to help out. These are typically 30 minutes long, 40 minutes long. And next week will be about the same amount of time, and hopefully there'll be people on board to want to help me help them. Take care. I'll see you, or you'll see me. We'll see each other next week. Again, if you have any questions, just send me a text and I will catch you all on the flip side. Let me stop. I have to stop sharing here and then do the whole end it. Take care, and I hope you learned something. And if you did, go help somebody else. And we'll all be back next week. Live at 5, Most Things Hypnosis. My name is